Good evening, everybody. It is 7 p.m. I will call the Tuesday, August 20th, 2024 Board of Selectmen meeting to order. All three selectmen are present, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Make a motion, we approve the Board of Selectmen meeting minutes from August 6th, 2024.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the minutes? Nope.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have been invited on Wednesday, September 4th, 2024, to the Northeast Probate Court relocation open house, 84 Providence Street, hosted by Judge Gabrielle Labonte and the court staff. That'll be between 2 and 5 p.m. And again, that was Wednesday, September 4th. Any other correspondence to bring before the board tonight?
Nope.
Okay. All right, open the floor to selectmen comments.
Probably the thing that's hitting most people is the delay in opening the bridge.
Oh, right, yes,
That's-
September 23rd.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that has got the most attention right now. It would have been nice if and I don't know what communications you've had as to what they've been progressing with, but obviously they must have known for a while they weren't gonna.
They gave me notice, I think, just before our last meeting, about a week or so before the last meeting that we had, that there was going to be a potential delay. They weren't clear on how long of a delay that was. What happened was they had done borings and ran into some larger surface rock than what they had anticipated, and they actually went back to the drawing board and redesigned with their engineers. Then it had to go through submittal for state approval, so they did move as expediently as they could. When I talked, we had a meeting here, Melinda, myself, Joe, Greg Gillott came in just because we were worried about school starting. And they had the construction contractor on the phone, and the state representatives were in the room with us. And I did ask, when we talked about date, I said I wanted the worst case scenario. So September 23rd was given, but then when I pressed further about, is there contingency for rain events or weather events or any other possible unforeseen issues? There was none. So I say September 23rd lightly. I'm hoping for sometime early October to be cynical and to be prepared. But thankfully we were kind of on alert, and we had already talked to DATCO about potentially rerouting buses. So just a little bit longer. So.
Yeah, hopefully we can get maybe some weekly updates or whatever, because the people, you know how they react. It's a big inconvenience
Right.
and everything, and it sends more traffic over Buckley Hill and Reardon Road and everything, and
Yeah.
and always
I think.
people
Reardon
think
Road
the
has
sky
been
is,
cut off.
but a lot of people think the sky is falling, and there's a lot of stuff that goes around. So
Right.
more information out there maybe can quell some of that.
My bigger concern in meeting with them was that even some parents who don't traverse this direction until they have to bring their kids to school.
Right.
Would kind of have a rude awakening on school morning when they were driving their child to school. So Melinda was going to get the word out to all the parents as well. So any other selectmen comments?
I wanted to bring up something that I don't know if as a board we can do anything about, or if it's anything, but have you gotten your Eversource bill? Because there's a huge increase on everybody's bills for public benefits. And if I'm understanding this correctly, there's an additional increase coming forward in the September bills that Pure
That-
had
Approved.
approved something on August 8th
Mhm.
for an additional increase. And I don't know if that's something that we could send a letter you know, I know there's a movement to have a special session to try to work something out with the legislators, and I think that maybe we should send a letter to,
What if we teamed up with some of our local towns?
we could do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's gotta,
Talk to-
hopefully we
The
can,
selectmen in surrounding towns and all get together and.
And
just
put
have a-
forward a letter of some sorts that supports a special session
Right.
to refigure this, because some of these increases that people are receiving
They're
are
exorbitant.
ridiculous.
Mhm.
And,
We-
and it's tough times now, and, you know, I was in the grocery store over the weekend and the prices are ridiculous. It's not affordable to eat.
Yeah.
And then you go to the gas pumps and it's the same exact thing. You know, and the diesel fuel, the oil for your tanks, it's just not affordable to live.
Mhm.
So that to get hit with a bill, you know, bills right before the end of the summer with air conditioners, and then we're gonna have to,
the unfortunate part is that this bill is gonna continue through the end of the year.
yes,
And then the next wave comes after that,
yes,
so. You know, these EV charging stations and stuff. They don't work,
right?
so they probably should refigure what they need to do with that.
Mhm.
And shame on everybody in general in Hartford, you know, with the COVID and the pandemic and the bills not being paid. I get that, you know, you can't shut people off, time of need, et cetera, because that happens during the winter time, you know, evictions,
Right,
things of that
right.
nature. But, you know, maybe some of the ARPA money or something could have gone to offset it. Who knows?
Something has to
Something.
offset it, because people can't afford to pay their electric bills now. And then to have another increase approved.
Right. Yeah.
That
No, I
was,
agree.
that was what I had, is if, to see
Well,
if we could,
personally, reach out, if you guys think you want to draft a letter, we could just personally draft a letter and maybe share it with some of the local, like, the mayor in Putnam, selectmen in, Woodstock, Pomfret, Killingly, get Mary Florio part of it, and the council. And maybe draft something and then have everybody
yeah,
be a part.
I would,
their
I
own
would,
way.
I'm wondering if Kremer is doing anything,
Hmm.
you know, representing the bulk of the towns themselves,
Kerma or CCM?
CCM.
CCM?
Yeah.
Haven't heard too much from them. They
No,
still
I'm
send me
just-
stuff, so. Or cost.
but I think it could be effective to team up with some of the other towns, and if they don't want to, then send a letter in.
But at least send, yes, send something from the town, from the board, representing the
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
That please, you know, go into a special session, work this out to, you know, reduce the impact.
Because I believe the public benefits portion of that is legislated in Hartford. As to how or
Regulated by
percentage,
Pure.
regulated by,
Yeah, and
yeah,
Pure does the rate increases.
right.
Right,
So I don't know how much control they have over that. You know, with the commission, Pure.
my charge this month was roughly $250.
Additional,
So,
that's crazy.
and it's, you get a higher percentage based on usage, that's what I had read. But. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Suzanne, that was really thoughtful and
Well,
timely, for sure.
Yeah,
you're
and,
welcome, it's,
and probably the only other thing to touch on is next week school starts.
Yes.
yes,
So,
that reminds me.
yeah, school's gonna be starting, the buses are gonna be out, they're gonna be. We've had it great, we haven't had to worry about the buses stopping and picking up the kids, people have forgotten that they're gonna be out there.
Mhm.
And with the new school year starting, there will be glitches in it. The runs will be a little longer. They got, you know, people gotta get
Acclimated, yeah.
reacclimated to the whole thing. So,
So leave a little bit early.
and please
Start
don't
school.
pass the buses.
And I may be jumping the gun on this, but I think the track is nearing completion.
Yes, it is.
I was kind of
I was just
excited.
talking to Bill Burton
Oh.
about it today. And yes, line striping.
Lines,
The
yeah,
striping is going on and yeah. It's nearing completion, for sure.
that's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they'll do a big ribbon cutting
I
and,
think they were thinking of doing it on Community Day and
oh,
doing tours.
Oh,
But
nice.
we'll firm that up. So,
excellent.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm excited.
yeah, me too.
It's been 20 some odd years.
So the only thing I wanted to share is as I had shared at the last meeting, the Buckley Hill Road bridges did get funded. It's a 50% match. We did receive notice from the state. There are technically four or five. 6 more bridges that are in dire need, that are being rated, their rating has dropped to poor. And we're being required to repair them. Good news being, 2 of the bridges are structurally deficient, and that is 4797 on Wilsonville Road, 4799 on Spicer Road. We thought we had taken care of Spicer Road back in 2021, but apparently they're claiming it's structurally deficient now. They are eligible for 100% federal funding. Additionally, we have 2 bridges considered scour critical, one that I thought we had addressed as well, but now it's come back up that it's continuing to be an issue. They're also 100% covered. That includes engineering costs. That's entirely 100% covered. And that's 4792 on Brickyard Road and 4800 on Aquatic Town Farm Road. So I have put in an application requesting that these bridges be included in the federal program that would 100% cover them. So waiting for good news and confirmation that they've been added to the list. At that point, the state actually does most of the engineering work, submits it over to the federal government, and then the costs are covered.
Wow.
So,
How did they rate the Red Bridge Road one?
oh, I don't have that one in
Well,
front
not
of me,
that,
but I'd
because,
have to look at it.
well, no, I'm just wondering because Brickyard is one of those when they back the dam up, these bridges go underwater.
Right.
So, there
I'll
is,
look at the Red Bridge one.
just out of curiosity,
Right.
because I'm
It
wondering,
might still be rated fair
okay,
at this point.
but a lot of the damage may be done when they flood over and
Mhm.
Right.
that type of stuff.
I think that same thing, so,
Especially with Brickyard
yeah,
that way.
for sure.
And the Aquatic Town Farm Road one is the one that we had the scouring.
Yes. Yeah, so that
But that
continues.
bridge isn't-
Now it's saying it's scour critical. So, and these are all smaller bridges, they're not.
Oh, that bridge was replaced in the 90s, if I remember correctly. I think
Okay.
Barney was first selectman back then,
Hmm.
because he lived right next to the bridge.
Right, right.
That bridge had been replaced.
Okay. Well, it's on the list again. That's the one. And the last one is on Baker Road. It's structurally deficient, but might be eligible for the 50% match. We're trying to squeak that out to get that approved before the Buckley, so that it could potentially be included in the funding of the Buckley Hill Road bridges, taking care of 3 bridges in one fell swoop as far as financing is concerned. But we'll get there. We're not there yet. But they have started doing the engineering work to submit to hopefully get approval. And again, that would be 50%. But we're being ordered to take care of these bridges. So
And do we have,
thankfully, there's a
So
mechanism.
there's 3 that we have to fund 50% of?
No, well, Buckley Hill
3?
Road,
Yeah.
the 2 on Buckley Hill, and then Baker Road. There's also, there's also West Thompson, which is scour critical, but our engineer doesn't think that the West Thompson Road that goes just before the railroad tracks, it's scour critical, but the engineer doesn't think that it would fly for the 50%. It's something we'd have to cover over. So we're looking into
and,
that.
okay. So that bridge is a scour critical.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
and
we-
we're also being ordered to paint certain bridges too.
Can't remember any of the bridges ever being
Oh.
painted.
Wow.
West
Did
Thompson.
I-
I didn't see that message that came from John, so I didn't actually see that he received that message. I gotta ask him for it. That kind of threw us for a loop.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the update on bridges. Stawicki Road is wrapped up. They'll be doing driveway aprons. They started on Spicer Road. So Spicer Road, the half mile on Porter Plain Road and Stawicki Road, full depth reclamation, repaving. I heard from Joe tonight. He said Stawicki looks amazing. So that's exciting. They do plan on finishing up Lowell Davis this year. And maybe a couple other smaller projects still yet to be determined, but I do want the board to know that we are currently 4 crew members short. 3 for medical reasons, 1 because of deployment. We do have a temporary staff person at the transfer station, that is filling in, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, leaving the Saturdays still for union overtime. But kudos to the crew that's out there. They're working really hard and they're getting a lot of stuff done, even though they're short-staffed. So, Joe's out there working side by side with them. He's an amazing director. And I'm very proud of the crew right now. They're doing a phenomenal job with what
they
have.
with the short staff. Wow.
I did hear from Mary Eames. I thought I'd share it. She wanted to share with the Board of Selectmen. This was a phone message that DPW was really good working on her road and making things easy for her to access her driveway. And she wanted to tell the Board of Selectmen about this good thing. So
Nice.
I had to share that with you guys.
That was who?
Mary Eames, Labani Road.
Oh, okay.
And then the last thing I wanted to give you guys the update on America's 250. I don't remember if I did it at my last 250th celebration. We have a committee currently working to plan events to celebrate America's 250th birthday, which is in 2026. So far, we're starting off with a logo contest for, if you look, the national, they have a logo. But we all decided that we didn't really like that logo and it might be fun for Thompson to create their own logo. So we're going to be putting that out to the public to create a logo, and then the public will be able to vote on which one we accept. We have October of 2025, a full-scale Revolutionary War reenactment that's going to be taking place. I'm very excited about this one. And it's on the property of Joe Salkowitz, who's had reenactments on his property before. So that's getting moving. Aaron McGarry has been taking some of the lead on recruiting. It's a time of the year and a time of the revolutionary time period that there wasn't a ton of action. If we wait until 2026, especially in that time frame in 2026, most of the British troops were headed south towards New Jersey, New York. So Aaron's feelings was that the majority of the troops or these reenactors would be in that location. So Columbus Day weekend of 2025, Blash Road. So keep watching for that. It's going to be a really awesome event. We're talking about a parade on the 4th of July, some sort of fireworks that are actually town created, budget dependent.
Not created, you mean town?
Town
Yeah,
provided.
Provided, yeah.
Because the town doesn't typically do
Right.
fireworks, but we're gonna work on some fundraising too.
Yeah.
For that. A community concert on May 2nd of 2026, featuring the American Band. The band has been booked. That was through a donation. So that's exciting. And then the most recent addition to this is going to be the Red Coat Retreat Run. It'll be a 5K, 10K, half marathon or full marathon through Thompson, commemorating when the British retreated. So, be watching for all those as they start to unfold. Additionally, the Historical Society they've put together a series of programs that will take place throughout the year. So it'll be a really exciting time. I can't wait. So I get excited about it.
Keep us in the loop.
Yeah, I will. Our next meeting, if either of you wanted to go or anybody here wants to go, is October 9th, 6 o'clock.
And that's
a
where?
Wednesday, here in the Cine Room.
At what time?
6 o'clock. So October 9th, 6 o'clock, if you want to come and participate and be involved in celebrating America's 250th birthday. Any other selectmen comments? We
did.
All right, we will move on to citizen comments and we will start in the room. Any citizen comments? Just state your name and address.
Jeff Berlin, Buckley Hill Road. I just wanted to point out, because you all don't live on Buckley Hill Road,
Yeah.
that consistently tractor trailer trucks are cutting through. I think to get to and from 395 and then up to that highway in Massachusetts. I can't remember the number, 42 or something like that.
Okay.
So the concern with the bridge and these especially loaded tractor trailers is, it's significant, and it's also, they're pretty aggressive driving down that road,
Okay,
and, we have signs up, we have permanent signs up, they just ignore them. I don't know if we can do anything about it, I just wanted to point it out,
right.
sometimes even through the night.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. We did arrange, there was supposed to be some presence of, the state police, the traffic unit. I will follow up with our liaison to see what was the status and what was the result. So, but thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
been an ongoing concern, and I really feel for everybody that lives on that road.
I thought perhaps a possible solution might be to temporarily make that section from the bridge in question to that triangle one way. At
Mm,
least it would cut it in half
okay.
and maybe deter.
Well, the unfortunate part, it doesn't alleviate the 5-ton load limit.
Correct. That's
Right.
all I can come up with.
That's good thinking. Thank you. Any other citizen comments? Yes.
Sally White, 308 East Thompson Road. I just wanted to share that on Saturday, September 14th, the Village Improvement Society will begin a series of events to recognize the 150th anniversary. The Village Improvement Society was a volunteer organization formed to take over or to assist in the care of the Thompson Hill Common. The Common is owned by the Congregational Church, but there are people who live around the area who aren't necessarily members of the church, but for 150 years have joined together to have it mowed and to pick up branches and to prune the trees and to plant trees and to just make sure that it's kept in good order as a token of respect and appreciation for the presence of the church. And one of the events on the Saturday, September 14th, I'm organizing a vehicle exhibit, not a car show, but an exhibit. And it's essentially, it's not closed, but I'm trying to selectively find people with an array of different vehicles to make it educational. So there are vehicles from different decades. I believe that Frank is going to bring up one of the older trucks from the Thompson Hill Fire Station, correct, Frank?
Yes.
And I just gave an invitation to Ken, because I understand you have a 65 GTO. But we're hoping to have vehicles there from really every decade that we can, since they've been created and made. And we're doing pretty well with that. And it isn't necessarily limited to, it could be an old tractor, could be an old pickup or truck or whatever. But we have vehicles so far. We'll have some from the late 20s, the 30s. I don't think we have any from the 40s yet, definitely 50s and 60s. But if you know of anyone, I could give an invitation to, or trying to get Thompson people and then local people. And it will be, that portion will be held on the common across from the post office. But there will be other events going on. There's going to be some music there. Jane Vercelli is organizing some folks that will play American, like folk music, and also some jazz music. And there'll be games shown and played that would have been played 150 years ago, and a few other things. And then when you were mentioning the bridges, I could help but think of the Spicer Road Bridge, which my understanding was it was not designed for the large gravel trucks. And of course, they continue to travel that road virtually daily, load after load after load. So bridges that were not designed for that load have been put under tremendous stress. And I know that the West Thompson, well, right by the railroad tracks, that bridge was totally redone in the early 1980s. Do you have the date on that?
I don't know, I have to look at that.
The only reason I know is because my mother went and sat in a little park on the French River and painted the old bridge before they tore it down and totally redid that bridge, and that was in the early 80s.
Okay,
So a little
interesting.
data point there.
Yeah.
So actually, it isn't that old, but again, that's been overly stressed by the vehicles coming out of Reardon Road
Yeah.
too.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments in the room? In the virtual audience? Yes, Ms. Valerie Clark.
Well, you knew that you couldn't mention Baker Road without hearing from Valerie Clark at Alm Road. So I am in accordance with the comment regarding Spicer, regarding West Thompson, regarding Buckley Hill bridges. The gravel trucks that go over Baker Road certainly have contributed to deterioration of bridges on that road. I would also want to know which bridge we're talking about that has been determined to be in jeopardy. And I would like to know where to find the report that I can read it myself too.
Oh, absolutely. I will forward it to you, Valerie,
Okay, thank you. What
You're welcome.
bridge is it?
and I'll try to, I mean, I don't drive on Baker Road, it's 5638, I think the bridges are all numbered. But I can try to get you more definitive.
If you could, give us the last two report, the current report and the one before that,
You got
so
it.
we can just kind of see
Yeah,
where. How
Absolutely.
how they
this was
deteriorated.
the first letter I received from the state that said that we had to do something. But I think it's because the federal program, the person who sent the letter also gave me the contact to the state of Connecticut for the person handling the bridges. So it was kind of a, hey, we've got this money available. So,
And one more question, if I might, I think I might have missed a date. When would the work on Baker Road be scheduled?
oh goodness, that's not for a little ways out. It's just going through engineering at this time.
Thank you.
I'm hoping to coincide it somehow with Buckley Hill Road. All right, any other citizen comments? Yes.
It occurred to me in 1976 that the town did quite a bit. And perhaps in the varied archives, I know there are a lot of photos. But people that perhaps were involved, then there may be inspiration or some ideas that could be used again or elaborated on. But they did a lot at the 150th.
Huge parade,
Yes, yeah, I've got,
huge parade.
got some
Yeah.
great photos from that.
Yeah,
Did I say 100, 200?
200, yeah.
Get my math wrong. Thompson Public Schools for good news. Didn't get the math. The other thing with the Baker Road Bridge is, it would be nice if people would remember that that has a name. It's the Fenner Bridge, Fenner. It's been called that for probably 200 years.
I've never heard that.
Interesting.
I drive that road almost every day.
Heard it since I was a little
That's-
girl. We would go fishing at Fenner Bridge, and my grandmother wrote a poem about it because talking about driving the horse and buggy down there. Fenner Bridge has been a local that, you know, it's a beautiful scene looking back towards the stump from
Yeah.
with where you are behind you. You don't see anything modern. You're just looking down, and it's beautiful in the autumn. But that has always been known to the local natives as Fenner, Fenner.
And I
That's,
shouldn't say, I might have said Baker Road Bridge, but it was just, all the state gives me is just the number and then the street address.
because there's
So
So now I
technically,
will call it Fenner.
there's
Bridge.
two bridges on that road.
Okay, well then which one is it?
That's what we're asking, because there's the one that goes over the swamp there,
Okay,
which is maybe it's not a bridge, it's more of a
Yeah, I was
Culvert.
culvert,
I
yeah.
was thinking that it was what appears to be a traditional bridge, but indeed there is a significant culvert area because of the swamp. And that
Right.
goes off into the whole stump area too.
Fenner, is that what you said?
Fenner, Fenner.
Fenner,
But that's.
and that's
so-
Stump Pond and the Middle Pond, right? That's the one in
Correct.
between.
yeah.
Never heard that.
I haven't either,
Valerie?
and I fished up there.
35 years I've been living on the lake and I,
Valerie, did you have a comment?
Yeah, because if it's not the Fenner Bridge, which is how I've referred to it in the selectmen's meetings in the past, if it's not the Fenner Bridge, I need to be directly involved in this because we have agreements with the town regarding my property and how that bridge on my property is maintained.
So yours is more of the culvert then?
Mine is the one that they're referring to as the one with the culvert.
Okay,
But there are specific agreements with
All
the
right.
town. So I need to be involved. Thank you.
absolutely. Thanks for that heads up.
So then that's
If that's,
further back.
It's west,
Yeah.
headed towards Elm Road.
Yes,
right,
near the hairpin turn.
we will find out. All right, any other citizen comments? All right, we will move on to agenda item 7, Veteran of the Month. With our new Veterans Affairs Officer, we had discussion and this was his idea. I thought it was fantastic. Thompson Veteran of the Month, August 2024. I'm just gonna read the press release. Stan Lisnowski of Elliott Hill Road has been chosen as the town of Thompson's first recipient of the newly formed Veteran of the Month program. Stan was a U.S. Navy hospital corpsman from 1963 to 1967. He flew medevacs and was awarded an Air Medal with seven awards. He proudly served his country in Vietnam, and the town of Thompson wishes to acknowledge its thank you for your service from a very grateful community. I think our Veterans Affairs Officer, Rainey Moran, would like to say something.
Just a few words. You can be seated, please. I'm extremely excited this evening for Stan Lisnowski, but also for the community of Thompson. When the position for Veterans Officer became open earlier this year, I thought about it, and the more I thought about it, the more I thought, you know, I don't hear much about veterans in this community or the fact that we even had a veterans office or veterans officer for a long time. So when the position became available, I applied to the position, met with the Board of Selectmen among a number of other individuals, and I was granted the job. At that meeting with the Board of Selectmen, I pointed out a number of things that I would like to do for veterans in the short term and in the longer term period here in Thompson. And the very first thing that I talked to the Board of Selectmen about was to start a Veteran of the Month program to properly say thank you to veterans that have long gone unknown. I'll bet you if I took a survey of everybody in the room here, how many veterans do you think we have in the town of Thompson? The number that you would all give me would be significantly less than it is. We have 441 veterans living in the town of Thompson currently. That's right from the assessor's records. So that's accurate within the 1 or 2. And we never hear about veterans. We don't ever do anything about veterans. So I thought, along with the Board of Selectmen, that it would be a great idea to start that program. And more specifically, the first person that we wanted to honor was a gentleman that's here with us this evening with his lovely wife, Barbara, and oldest son, John, in the back here. Stan is a very well-known person in the community, having been involved in many different things over the course of his long career here in Thompson. Barbara, school nurse for how many years?
35.
only 35 years, so she doesn't keep a job going. And along with John and his two brothers who were great athletes in Thompson and very well known. So it seemed to make sense to kick off our program by honoring Stan. We're going to do that each and every month moving forward. As a matter of fact, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. We have a selection committee. We're going to be selecting the September Veteran of the Month. We have nominations. I think we've had about 9 or 10, maybe up to a dozen nominations right now of veterans that are all very deserving. So it'll take a long time to get to honor all 441, but we'll get through a dozen or so, a dozen a year. I think when you hear the name, I think you'll all of you will realize that that person is a very deserving individual. I was going to ask Stan if he wanted to say a few words. I think a lot of us probably wonder, what does the award medal with 7, what is it?
7 awards.
7
The
awards.
Air Medal.
Yeah, what exactly?
The Air
that's-
Medal is. I flew medevacs in Vietnam. You qualify, I go out on a mission. And I come back and I get credit for 1. If you got shot at, you get credit for 2 flights. Anyway, it takes 20 to get the Air Medal. And every award, I got roughly the 20 and then 7 after it, we're talking about 160 missions. May seem like a lot, but let me tell you, some of the Marine Corps crew members there, they have 1,500, 1,800, and it's just, that's what it is. And it's, supposedly, as I remember it, it's, if you rank all the medals, you got the Bronze Star, and right under it is the Air Medal, you know, but, that's the story on it.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you. I think we were all probably wondering when I wrote the press release and I had a number of people ask me exactly what that meant. And I said, I'm going to find out at the selectmen's meeting next Tuesday night. So that's good. We'll be able to pass along that information. I'm sure there are a lot of stories, just like Stan's story of people living in our community. And we're going to get those out and start honoring some of our deserving.
I just like to say a few more words here, if I could, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's your show.
Thank you very much for this award. I'm really honored and humbled. Special thanks to Rini and to all of his selecting committee and selecting me. And I'd also like to congratulate Rini as a service officer. I was extremely surprised and stunned by the award when Rini told me about it. And I could think of several more people that I felt were more deserving than I am, that have done things for years. Few of them have passed away, but I think maybe they can get some kind of acknowledgement. And for myself, I'm thankful and proud to be associated with America and American veterans. And I was stationed overseas for 3 years, even some Japanese Navy, Korean Marines. But like I say, I could think of several. If I really sat down here, it'd be a dozen, then it'd probably be 100. And that's basically, I'm just, again, I'm honored to be acknowledged for this. I am actually dumbfounded as being the first, but anyway, I'd like to thank you all again. And Be well. Thank you.
The town of Thompson honors Veteran of the Month Stanley Stan Wisniewski, United States Navy 1963 through 1967, hospital corpsman, served in Vietnam, earned Air Medal with 7 awards. Thank you for your service from a grateful community, August 2024.
I'll add one more thing.
Thank you.
Again, one more thing. Unfortunately, when we have a Memorial Day parade every year, there are probably more people in this room tonight that actually go to the parade and attend the parade. It's shameful. But one person you can count on every year at the Memorial Day parade, in his wheelchair, in front of Milltown Grill, is Stan Wisniewski and Barbara Wisniewski and their family. They are true patriots, true heroes of this community, not only in the war, not only in the time that he served in the service, but right through today. And you can see right here with the flag, and a very proud individual. So that's all part and parcel of it as well, Stan. Job well done.
Wouldn't you get a photo with his son and you folks all together? Make sure you get it recorded.
Yeah. We can have John again. John's our,
Now, what Rini said about me being at the parade every year. I also.
Oh, John, you got your.
Person that marches in that parade in the 40 some odd years I've lived in town here. A fellow named Sonny Ham, I mean, he is there.
Yep.
Every year. He put up with quite a
He's on that list.
adventure, yeah.
all right. We all sleep in. We're gonna cover
Hold your plaque up so we can see it.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect.
Awesome.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Stan.
Thank you, Rini. Thanks for those things.
Thank you. I have no way to do it. And one
Mr. Moore.
Thank you for your service and thank you for being corny.
You what'd you say? I'm sorry.
I was corny.
Oh, yeah.
So you represented our core very well.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, for some reason you was still. Okay.
I would just like to eat Stanley's words. This is probably the least, some of you may not know, the least amount of words he said when he's been in this room. For many, many years, I'm sure Frank would have done too. However, as a family, we're very, very thankful and very grateful. This is the first we hear about these medals. We didn't know about them. There are more in a big tacky bag, but they're not taken out and we don't know about them. No. But,
It's a Steve bag.
but I thank Rini especially for this, and also thank the Veterans Coffee House establishment that's come into being in the last 10 years. It's brought a lot of men and women together, and a lot of conversation, so I thank you very much, Rini, and the town. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'm gonna take that.
All right. All right, we'll move on. Agenda item 8, resignation, Aaron Intellizzeri, Animal Control Officer. Make a motion that we accept this resignation with regret.
Second.
I will say Erin has done a phenomenal job. She has given us structure that we didn't have in the past on how it should be run efficiently. She was a master at organization, or is a master of organization, cleanliness. You walk into that kennel, it does not smell like dogs or occasionally cats when she had like 20 of them in there. But she just, her order and organization was beyond comparison. The state ACO and I have had conversation. It will definitely be tough shoes to fill. He's agreed she's one of the best in the business. She is not moving on to another animal control position, so she's not leaving us for greener pastures, just a closer commute and better pay. So a little bit of quality work-life balance is what she needed.
Erin is a true professional, and it's been a pleasure working with her. The contact that I have had, and the animal shelter looks amazing. She's done a great job. Her shoes will definitely be hard to fill.
Yeah.
And I vote we don't accept it. I say no.
That was my first inclination when she said something, but I understood.
Fortunately, we don't have a choice.
Yeah.
I know.
It's a courtesy to just say, okay, yeah, we'll accept it. I guess we could vote not to.
Right?
Not that it would mean
I don't think
anything,
that she'd be
but-
showing up on Monday, though.
All right, all in favor of approving the resignation with regrets, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, and agenda item 9, a report from our Director of Planning and Development, Tara Penn.
Greetings to all. Just kind of worked out well. I have a little break in my Tuesday night schedule, so I thought I'd provide you guys with a little update. I did send over a memo that I presume the 3 of you have, but for the sake of the folks in the room, if you give me a minute, I'm just gonna zoom over to my screen here and I'll just run through it very quickly. Certainly not reading it verbatim because that would be tiresome. Essentially an update on active grants, pending grants, and some odds and ends. I work with various commissions and boards throughout the region. So, and I'm just taking them in the order that I sort of have them in my e-files. Congressional Appropriations Award through Small Business Administration for the renovation of 65 Main Street is nearly at its conclusion. The last amount of the money we had to spend in the performance period is going to go to cover the exterior painting. You guys will recall we were out to bid earlier in the summer, had one bidder come back. Brian Santos and I, who are sort of working on the project together as project managers, were not able to negotiate a slightly more competitive price, so we just went back out to bid. And by your next meeting, hopefully we will have some new bids to consider. So just to recap what has been done under that initial award, the building has been entirely interior, exterior hazmat abated. There is a new roof. There was an in-kind donation to do some very important foundation repairs. We've had some siding patch, and that was something that needed to happen before the exterior painting. That's sort of why it kind of took us so long to get to where we could go out and bid on the painting. That performance period technically ends at the end of September, so I may have to do a little juggling to ask on an extension, but those are funds we've actually already received in full, so the extension really won't be a problem. It's just a technicality. Should we need it if we get a very rainy September. The next thing on my list here you'll see is the pair of grants through CT Deep, their recreational trails grant program. Both of those grants funded activity related to the Great East Thompson Trainwreck Memorial Park. The first one, which was relatively small, went towards survey, design work, construction documents, and a small amount of land acquisition for the previously privately owned parcel where the original historic stone turntable is located. So that first grant is now fully expended and essentially closed. I haven't technically issued my closing report, but it is for all intents and purposes closed. So that moved on to the the following grant, which was for construction. That went out to bid earlier this year. A vendor was selected, B&W Paving and Landscaping. They will start their work in November. That's going to be, you know, whatever clearing and grading. They'll continue until weather stops them for the season, and then they'll pick it up in the spring and finish that. So that's the reconstruction of the turntable area, essentially the interpretive park portion, major upgrades to that parking area, both in terms of configuration and drainage. We're going to move the access point a little further in. There'll be a bike repair station permanently installed, an enclosure built for the porta-john that we rent there seasonally, to make it a little more secure, and then some on-street traffic calming measures, so that it should all start to take shape. It's been a long time coming, but pretty excited to see that. The brownfield remediation grant, the 2 million through DECD brownfield program, remains at something of an impasse. The town has fulfilled all of its obligations. There are two issues that have been holding it up for quite some time. One being the current owner is required to sign off on some paperwork. He has many months ago given us a letter saying he would sign whatever we gave him. He has not done so. He's just a very erratic person to deal with. The other issue, and this is sort of the issue that's keeping our developer from foreclosing on the current owner. You'll recall that we assigned that ability to him essentially when we sold him the tax lien. Is there has been a big kerfuffle statewide about some determinations from Department of Labor and how much of the project's prevailing wage applies to. And it's sort of thrown the entire brownfield grant program into a little bit of chaos. We currently have an extension through the end of September. We're hoping to get some determination, some formal revised determination from the Department of Labor by then. If not, we do have some strategies for moving forward, but you know, it's all sort of pending. So it's sort of a vicious cycle that we're trapped in until something shakes loose. But I did talk to the developer's attorney today. She's the one who gave me the update on that they are still in communication with DECD, and they may have another avenue to pursue to try to shift the ownership that may not involve direct foreclosure, but that's sort of attorney stuff that I don't want to misspeak about, but it is moving forward at a glacial pace as best we can. DECD, a lot of these grants are through DECD. The Urban Act Award, that was the award that was arranged directly by State Senator Flexer after specifically Jess Bolte from PTO pursued it. So it's kind of, when they do these direct awards through our elected representatives, they go through a slightly different process. I agreed to act as the municipal point of contact because that was required under the Urban Act program, which is what the funds flow through. The site prep work has been done. That was done concurrently with the track, and the equipment has been received. So now they are preparing to do the installation. And I just need the finalized award agreement from the state in order to be able to submit for reimbursement. And that's what I mean by saying the process is a little different from a normal grant. They allowed us to proceed with the activity before the agreement was finalized, but we can't get the reimbursement until the agreement is finalized. But again, I was in contact with our attorney today and DECD's contacts over the last couple of days. So we've sorted that out, and that should be happening presently. And then I should be able to start submitting reimbursement requests. So that flows into the pair of steep grants, the library roof replacement and the high school track. Roof replacement is completed and closed. Sent in my closing report earlier this year, maybe late spring, early summer. The high school track has crossed the threshold at which we can start submitting for reimbursements. So once the check is cut on the latest payment request from the contractor, I will be submitting the first reimbursement request to DECD. I haven't done the calculation on that yet. There might be one more after this. And that's for a total of $500,000 is going to offset the total cost on that project. So that's moving along nicely. And then the last active grant is the other one related to 65 Main Street, which is the planning grant for the future programming of the facility. We have been in a 12-month public workshop process. Most of those have been very well attended. The July one, and I expect the one next week, have been a little lighter. Not that surprising because it's the summer. And then we'll have one more public workshop, which will be a wrap-up sort of summary of everything that we've gone over during that public workshop process. That'll be in September on the 4th Wednesday of the month at the library. So everybody is certainly invited to attend that. And then the last 6 months of that grant, the organizational partners and I will be writing the master plan. That includes the business plan, construction documents for the planned public permaculture park and the surrounding landscapes and gardens, how the capstone project through Turtle Lot High School will look. We're still hoping that will launch for spring semester 2025. I have to coordinate that obviously with the school. And then all of the other details around that, how it will be organized. And then obviously that'll support other future grants, but also sort of get some of the easier to initiate functions of the facility underway. So those are the active grants. Pending grants, I have two, both related to Main Street and 65 Main and the neighborhood. The first one is another appropriations request, this time through Congressman Courtney. When those opened up this spring, it was an incredibly tight window. I think it was less than a week to turn them around. So we were actually uniquely well positioned to put in a request for the remaining renovation funds for the building and some of the funding for the site work and landscaping, because we'd already done so much prep work. It was very easy for us to do a quick turnaround. Congressman Courtney did accept our proposal and has passed it up to the House of Representatives for their budget process. So technically, and this I think is very important to be clear about, the award has not been finalized and formalized because that's a part of the congressional budgetary process. In practice, these appropriations requests are generally funded. Congress does have the option to either award the full amount requested, to reduce the amount requested, or to not fund it at all. So any of those things are possible, and that confirmation could come anytime from the end of September to sometime in spring of 2026. 2020, what year are we in? 2025. God. The America 250 thing threw me off. 2025. When they finish all of, whatever haranguing they're doing. But that total request as submitted was for a little over $730,000. Again, that closes the renovation gap on the structure and gets substantial funding to do the actual landscaping for that 3.2 acres attached, which is the back portion of Riverside Park, currently inaccessible. So that's pretty exciting. Since we have, high probability of substantial amounts of that funding coming in. And then the biggest one is the Community Investment Fund, again through DECD. They're in round 5 of 8. This is my third pass. So I've applied in, rounds 3 and 4 and now 5. Obviously, those first 2 were unsuccessful, but the way DECD works this program is they give very high-level executive summaries to the applicants so that they can further refine their applications and send them back in. Not all communities in the state qualify. Thompson is a qualifying community because it's an alliance district. That is a $4,075,000 request with no match requirement. The bulk of that funding, I want to say about $3.5 million of it, off the top of my head, would be for the full depth reconstruction of Main Street and its related sidewalks, with the sidewalks continuing up north on Route 12 a little bit until where they peter out in front of that decommissioned church that somebody's living in. I think is where that sidewalk ends. Again, had some money built in for renovation at the building at 65. This was before the Congressional Appropriations Award was confirmed. So it's sort of a suspenders and a belt there. And then renovations to 2 veterans memorials in that neighborhood, Swanson Park being the primary one, and then the unnamed Veterans Memorial on that island at the intersection of Route 12 and Main Street. So if this application is successful, that is what that will fund. I will be notified about that at the end of September, early October at the latest. They've been keeping a very tight schedule there. You can never say anything is a slam dunk, but I am as optimistic as I can be that third time is going to be a charm here. I've had some very encouraging conversations, not just with DECD, but I know we've had strong support from both of our state senators, including a con call that State Senator Gordon got on with me and DECD. Where one of the points I made about the program was, regardless of the merits or not merits of my application, which all of their prior feedback has been very positive about, the awards are made by a board of directors. And if I look at how that board is constituted, there are no representatives from Northeast Connecticut on it. So I kind of called them out on that. Since this program is meant to hit all corners of the state, Northeast Connecticut has been kind of a blind spot for them. So I think they heard that. So that is the pending grants. And then just quickly on the municipal commissions that I work with most closely. The Agriculture Commission is one that in the last couple of years I have started working with more closely. Due to the way their schedule works, I actually missed their last meeting, and I think I'm missing their October meeting. And the minutes from that meeting haven't been posted. So I don't know exactly what they discussed in July, but in general, they have indicated that they're interested in doing some more promotion of our agricultural businesses, both as, businesses that support our food systems, but also as agritourism. And I've told them that I will assist them in pursuing grants if that's the way they want to go. I don't think they're quite ready for that yet, but when they're ready, I'm happy to sort of swing into action for them. Economic Development Commission spent their last year's fiscal budget on a contract with a marketing agency, Dorning Kallenbach Agency out of somewhere in Western Connecticut. Our main contact is a gentleman named Todd Kallenbach, and that is to develop a marketing program for the districts where we want to concentrate our economic development. So that's mainly the Downtown Mill Rehabilitation District, and then secondarily, what we call the Thompson Corridor Development District. That is routes 12 and 131 once you get out of that downtown core. And tomorrow night, we'll be reviewing the latest iteration of their materials. Once that contract is closed, this year's fiscal budget, the commission is more or less planning on moving then to implementation of this plan. And that's sort of part of the last piece that the consultant needs to go over with us. Mill Sites Redevelopment Advisory Committee is, they're sort of in a little bit of a lull until hopefully the CIF grant comes through. And then much as they did with the brownfield grants and the bar grants that preceded me, and with the Riverside Drive sidewalks, which was the first big grant that, was under me in the position. They've been really key in helping to manage some of those big community development projects in our historic mill districts. Planning and Zoning Commission is in sort of this annual process that they committed to when they did the overhaul in 2020 of looking at the regulations, seeing where they can be sort of jiggered a little bit to make sure they're behaving as they are intended. That always takes multiple months. In the past, I've tried to keep them to getting that done in the month of September, but I don't think we're going to hit September this year. And I think that's fine. I think that the commission really wants to have the opportunity to discuss a few issues more thoroughly. And although I like deadlines because they give you structure, I think it is more important to have it just be a more thoughtful process. And my sense is that's what the commission wants as well. And then the last committee I work with fairly regularly is Trails. Obviously, the big project that I work on that intersects with them is the train wreck memorial, but also I'm one of the town's representatives to the newly reformed Airline State Park Trail Management Group. That's sort of what the 12-town task force has morphed into since Connecticut RC&D completed their master plan for the trail. And that management group has been split into a north portion and a south portion. Obviously, we're on the north portion here in Thompson. And the first meeting of the north group is scheduled for Monday afternoon. So I'll be attending that. And then the last few places where I represent the town in various ways is the Eastern Region Tourism District. I remain the town's representative to the board of directors. I'm also on the marketing committee and the grants committee. And as I indicate in my memo to the Board of Selectmen, we went through a big to-do about decoupling the northeast corner from the general Mystic country identity, which had been a sore point for a lot of the towns up here. Mystic is a great tourism asset, but their profile is very different from what we offer up here. And so essentially we split the Eastern region in some ways into 3 sub-regions, even though we're all still one board, and we're able to market each of those areas more fully. So that was, that took up a lot of time over the last couple of years, and it was a really, it's really starting to pay off. The district is also paying for another smaller reprint of the Airline Trail Z maps for the participating towns. Ours should be in hand in time for the Big E. And I will be representing Thompson at the Big E in the Connecticut building on one of the days, the morning of Saturday, the 21st of September. I've done that now for a couple of years as a member of the district. And then the other 2 nonprofit boards where I essentially represent Thompson and Thompson's interests are the Eastern Connecticut Land Bank, still working on getting that organization fully functional, although we have entered into a partnership with CCOG to move a community assessment grant forward. And we hope to be able to do that with the NECOG region once they transition to a new executive director. And then the last one is Connecticut Resource Conservation and Development Area. I'm on their Governance and Finance Council. They are also a partner on the 65 Main project and the Airline State Park Trail efforts. They are an agricultural and economic development advocacy group that has some really fantastic programs. So that relationship is one that I'm very pleased to be able to sort of contribute, not just on Thompson's behalf, but really on behalf of the region. So that's where I'm at, and happy to take any questions, my friends. I know it was a lot.
No, that was a really
No.
good detailed report. Thank you.
I mean, probably the biggest thing that ties into everything that we're doing down here is that mill redevelopment. And hopefully, whatever it is, we can break that impasse and get that move, because a lot of stuff will fall into place after.
Right.
Yeah, it's been very frustrating. The property is, I mean, all of those big mills are complicated properties by their very nature. This one is a particularly tangled octopus because of some idiosyncrasies in the ownership chain. It has definitely been complicating. The FEMA flood mapping was complicating. Now this Department of Labor thing. My sense on the developer, and this is just my opinion, right? Just from my interactions with him and his attorney, you know, he's got his hands in a lot of pies in Connecticut, Massachusetts, I think also in Maine, and certainly he has some existing projects down south. He's like a take it as, you know, roll with the punches kind of guy, right? So he'll do whichever of his projects is the path of least resistance until one of these impasses frees up. He's given no indication at this point that he's gonna bail on the project. He's very invested in it already. So, you know, I am optimistic, but like everybody else, I would like to see that wheel turn forward faster. But, you know, all of these are long view projects, and it's just the nature of the thing.
Kira, do you have 3 grants going for 65 Main?
I have 2 active and sort of 2 pending. Only one of them is really focused on it. The other one, it was just an add-on. So that's the SIF grant. There's just a piece of that request that's in there. It was the congressional appropriation through Congressman Courtney, which is sort of the final piece of that I threw out there. And, you know, I had no idea he was going to take it up, but he did. So that project's getting done. And with not.
What is the total of the grants? Do you know what the total of the grant funding is that's going toward that project?
So
with all of the grants?
Yeah, so it was 240,000 in the original renovation money, the original appropriation. That's the one that's coming to a close. And we got hammered on our estimates there because the architect's estimates on the abatement was like 4 times less than the actual cost. It was nuts. But it is what it is. That piece is all done. So 240 there. The planning grant's 125,000 roughly, like 124 and change, call it 125. That's the one that we're in process on now. So the one to finish the structure specifically to finish the structure renovation and get the site work done on the landscaping, right? So moving away from the building, that's roughly 730,000. That is the congressional appropriation that was passed up through Congressman Courtney, which, you know, the amount could be adjusted, but those are the 3 really. The SIF grant, that $4 million is almost entirely, or, you know, the vast bulk of it is for Main Street and the sidewalks. Those other pieces were add-ons, which is why I say, you know, suspenders and a belt on the 65 money, because if the unexpected happens and Congress ends up nixing that piece entirely, that's a backup request. So it's.
Kira, can I
Yes.
just interject, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but on the SIF grant as well, it wouldn't have been attractive to those awarding and reviewing grants to just say, yeah, we wanna rebuild a road. There
Yeah.
needs to be some glitz and glamour and other things, other elements that were appealing to what SIF stands for, Community Investment Fund. So we're
Correct,
investing in the
correct.
community of North Grove Riverdale.
Right, so the Community Investment Fund comes through DECD, which is the Department of Economic and Community Development. And they do a lot of big grants. They, for example, do the brownfield grants. Their real purpose as a department is to promote economic development. So you can certainly make the case that just the resurfing, the reconstruction of Main Street and the sidewalks would have an economic development effect, but it is certainly much less appealing than showing, hey, we're doing this somewhat novel and innovative repurposing, adaptive reuse of this town-owned structure specifically to support small businesses. Even though in terms of the amount that is included in that grant for that, a lot of the narrative is focused on that because that's going to jazz them on their priorities, right? So it's a little bit of grant gamesmanship. I mean, it's all legitimate in that, you know, whatever they award us for is what we're going to do the money, you know, spend the money on. But knowing what their priorities are and how to unlock those tumblers is what makes those grant applications successful.
Well, and you can also leverage the marketing of Main Street.
Yep, and that is
development area.
leveraged in that narrative as well. That is correct.
Any other questions for Kira?
So we're looking at over $1 million to rehab that building, right?
Yeah, which interestingly is very close to what the estimates that Larry Grow came up with when he was first selectman, although they were looking at it from a different perspective. But you know, no local tax dollars going into that. That's all going to be federal or state funds coming in. So, and that was the goal. And we've had really good luck in essentially telling the story of what we think we can do that meets the town's sort of self-image priorities, supporting, you know, agricultural businesses and the connection to the school, but in a way that has a direct economic development effect. I know Valerie's here in the Zoom room. She's been to almost all of those meetings. I think she may have only missed one. We've had at most of the meetings, you know, between live in the room and on Zoom, you know, 30 people on average. Some people have been to every one of the workshops. Some people have dropped in and out as their schedulers or interests have arisen. And in the end, it's going to be a really, or we're, you know, certainly we're hoping, again, a really innovative way to use resources that we have in ways that can really draw some commercial activity in a way that also highlights what Thompson's most proud of, right? It's agricultural traditions, it's open spaces, the career paths they're developing at the high school. You know, our existing small businesses who maybe are, you know, mom and pop kitchen table operations that, you know, may benefit from having more formalized meeting space or educational opportunities. So there's a lot going on there. It's been quite a 5-year journey.
And it sounds like the next meeting, Tara, on August 28th will kind of give a full scope of everything that's been discussed in the direction, correct?
No, that'll be the last one in September. So whatever.
Okay.
Right. So the next week will be the August meeting. I expect that's going to be very small in the core group because it's some of the more boring details, you know, to people who haven't been going along with it the whole way. There was a request to develop a mission statement for the facility. So Chris Dustin, who's the new chair of wetlands, and I are working on that. And then we're gonna bring some draft statements to the group. Talking about how the facility will be organized. I think we're leaning very strongly towards operating it as a cooperative. Again, because that is able to use localized resources better. And then again, continuing work on that potential capstone project for the Turtle Out Memorial High School students, largely around documenting the project's progress, doing things like developing a website, marketing materials. So starting with kids in the existing business and marketing career path before we start to flesh out what that farm to fork path is that everybody seems so interested in as we discuss it. But that's a heavier lift, right? Because that's not already in place. So just incrementally bringing it online in ways that make sense.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tara.
Thanks, Tara.
Sure. Have a great night, guys.
Thanks, you too.
You too.
Any other business to bring before the board this evening?
Nope.
All right, I'll open up the floor to citizen comments and we will start with the Zoom audience. Citizen comments. This is Valerie Clark.
Ellery Clark, Elm Road, and I've been multitasking. Back on Fenner Bridge. Connecticut 5638, which I believe is the bridge number that you identified,
Yes.
is indeed Fenner Bridge. It was built in 1940 and rehabbed in 1987, which 87 does not seem like that long ago that it needs to be in this much danger. It was last inspected in July of 2018, and its condition overall was fair. Superstructure and substructure and deck condition were all satisfactory. So something has happened significant since 2018, and I would want to know what that is. It is considered a historic bridge. So as Ms. White alluded to, I think we need to promote the fact that it is the Fenner Bridge and the history on why it is named that way, but it is listed on historic bridge sites. So I think we need the Historical Society involved with that as well. Thank you.
I like what you're thinking.
Good information.
Thank you. Anybody else in the Zoom audience with a comment? Citizen comments. Live audience. Anyone in the live audience? Yes, state your name and address. sir.
John Wasowski, Elliott Hill Road. Just for clarification on that 65 Main,
Mhm.
so it's 700,000 for the beautification of the property itself?
Tara, that also included the building, correct?
Yes, so there is a renovation gap from the original renovation award. So the real main purpose of that request was to make sure we can complete the building itself. But since we also had the estimates from the consultant who did the concept plans for the adjacent public park, I added that into that request, and the request was passed up as I sent it in. So it's probably about half and half building and site work if I were to put a rough estimate on it.
And then an additional 300,000 for the repaving of Main Street and sidewalks.
3 million.
No,
$4
that was
million.
3.5 million
$3.5
for
million.
Main Street and the sidewalks.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other citizen comments? All right. Hearing none, we will move on to tax refunds, and I present the request to my board. I'm happy to read off all the names. Okay, I will. Make a motion that we refund the following taxpayers. Jessica L. Rascott, $21.14. ACAR Leasing LTD, $303.56. Roger P. Cloutier, $2.66. Garrett R. Walker, $24.93. This up. Ilya Kostovsky, $53.05. Mary V. Santerre, $11.81. Teresa R. Nani, $10.18. Brian Persian, $19.48. Nicole Sigmund, $28.84. Paul T. Deary, $15.63. Mary J. Finn, $32.52. Emily Ann Brzezinski, $105.95. Marie S. Delaire, $69.09. Jezerski Handyman Services, $143.84. Barbara A. Luther, $687.29. Scott M. Page, $104.01. Michael P. Richard, $77.73. William Markland, $56.88. Ronald A. Birdie, $5.98. Tanner A. Amico, $238.15. David Laswis, no, I butchered that name, $25.14. Marlene Hop, $108.56. Susan B. Wheeler, $123.80. Daniel Francisco, $12.90. Ann M. Cummins, $95.21. David Tebow, $106.91. Maurice Dumas Jr., $702.74. Brandon D. Jenkins, $249.63. Elaine Stevens, $77.98. Stacy Sissio, $229.42. Edward F. Bose, $72.61. Joanne Lovett, $9.28. Coming to the end. Hans H. Otto, $50.93. David B. Brooks, $54.82. Chad Stawicki, $53.61. Jeffrey Ferraro, $29.51. Andrea L. Imons, $254.40. Thomas Jordan, $116.94. Kelly Lamb, $46.24. Matthew Sad, $186.93. And Patricia Peck, $56.92, for a total of $4,677.20 in tax refunds. I make that motion.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor of approving the tax refunds as proposed, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion to adjourn at 8:27 PM.
Second.
All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.